What's up, guys? Bones88 here. This is part 2 of my splitting factions into 2 video with XMG. This will be the clan edition, and it's going to be a little bit weird because me and Zeri made this. We made half of it one day and half the other day, so we'll be wearing different clothes and stuff, but that's just so you know that's why. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Exactly.
Alright, who do you want to do next?
Well, we can't really do the dwarfs or the half pigs because they don't have leaders.
Okay.
Let's go to the orcs.
Okay. So, obviously, it'd be Zera, correct?
Yeah, Zera's a must lead. I mean, they have a Tromgar lead and a Rantha lead. And it's kind of tough because Zera requires Rantha to like maximize her kit, but I still think Zera lead is a must.
And I guess sort of a spoiler ahead, but who do you want for the second team? Would it be Rantha lead? Because don't you?
I might actually put Tromgar.
Okay.
As the second lead, as a defensive lead.
Okay. All right. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, I guess. So all right, who do you think next? Hard Orc.
For Zera, yes, Hard Orc.
Okay. And then would you also put more Doom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, from here on out, I wouldn't know what the best would be. Would you put Zalanar?
I'd put Zalanar and Rantha.
Okay. That's what I've been doing for the most part. I kind of took Rantha out so I can use her leadership in Battlegrounds. But this is what I was kind of thinking too. Because she helps out a lot just by putting Battle Poo out on the battlefield.
Yeah.
But
the reason I say Zalanar and Rantha is you have Zelanar's Earth Totem, which taunts,
yep.
And then you have Battle Poo, who
yep.
can drop, and it can really screw up who they're going after.
And even if Battle Poo's not that strong, it could really block a couple of big attacks. You know, more Doom Slash if you're going against him, or just a lot of things. So
yep.
So she's still pretty good. She's not very good, but she's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And in that combination of teams, it helps out a lot.
If you want to save Zalanar for your Tromgar team, you could put in Saboteur.
Okay. Yep. I should have. I can't click on him, guys, but yeah, Sab. Which I forgot about. So yeah, I mean, you might do that. I can't really put him in there, guys, but because wouldn't you do that since it would make your second team stronger to have Zalanar, and then Saboteur has synergy with Hard Orc. So it'd probably make the most sense because.
Yep, and then you get the off tank from Battle Poo, and if it's an offensive team, you can control it way. Yeah. So that's why I'd go with that one.
Yeah, I like that because then if you put him on the other team, he's losing that synergy with Hard Orc. So.
So yeah, you could even pulling off Rantha. I mean, you could pull off Rantha and make a super hella strong team with Zalanar, but having Rantha in there, you benefit from the Zera synergy, and then you get that drop of Battle Poo to really help you out, where Zalanar's taunt is strictly RNG. Right.
Yep.
And it always seems to play better when somebody's fighting you. So
yeah, I like that. So I personally would say take Zalanar out, put Saboteur in. I can't do it right now because I don't have them unlocked. So yeah, I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah.
So second team. We just said we'd do a Tromgar lead.
Yep. And the reason you're going to go Tromgar is they get potency and tenacity, okay, by 30%, and then each debuff they inflict recovers 5% of their health.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking for characters who can put on those debuffs, right?
Yep.
And Zalanar gives what, like a tenacity decrease or an armor decrease, something like that, right?
I can't remember.
He gets more magic damage for his totem.
He increases health, shield, armor, crit chance, crit damage, and speed by 10%. Is that for himself?
Yeah. His chain lightning here.
Okay.
A 50% chance to inflict tenacity decrease. So he can put out a debuff.
Okay.
And then his flame totem can put out burn.
As you saw, yeah, so we'll end up putting Mar, Corkum, and Mortha, right? Or do you like Dieselrog somewhere in there?
No, I wouldn't put Dieselrog. He falls off.
Yeah.
I actually consider putting him in a hybrid Orc Goblin team.
Because he has synergy with Goblins, correct?
Yep.
That makes sense. So that makes sense for him to be left off there. So yeah, that's not a bad second team. You have him counterattacking, and he has more potency, more tenacity to keep from getting dispelled. And you have Mar built up. He kind of falls off in the end game, but you get him modded up right. I don't have him at gear 11, so he probably hits a lot harder when he gets to that point. And Corcoran has T7s, right?
Yep.
Do you like his T7s?
And I do like his T7s. Oh no, the Spectral Beast is awesome because you used to have to have stun and burned. Now you just need one or the other.
Okay, and this move right here where he can mass stun somebody is pretty damn good. I really. So
say he's getting all that extra potency too. So say you're stunning 5 people, he's recovering 25% of his health. Could be tricky. Good.
And then Mortha I don't really care about, but you're getting some healing there if she survives. And,
and she puts the shield back on, so that's huge.
Oh yeah, I do like that move. Yeah,
it's the best move she has.
She does damage, and is it to the lowest ally or is it a random ally?
Lowest health ally.
Okay, that's a good thing. I wouldn't want it to be random. So yeah. And then we already went over Zalinar, and he has synergy with Corcoran and Mortha. So yeah, I think that's probably just right.
Because say? The way I kind of, when I'm trying to break out my defensive teams, is like, what can the AI not screw up? And that team is pretty easy not to screw anything up. You're going to be dropping totems, attacking. You're going to be taunting and attacking. And then the rest, you're healing and attacking. And just attacking. You know what I mean? So they can't screw it up. It's not like you need this to happen to get this to happen to get this to happen. That should be your offensive team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. I like that. That was pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to do next?
Gobos.
Let's do it. This one's interesting, too, because there's so many ways you could do this.
Yep. In my mind, you would have a Murdoch and a shot lead, because Goram would get pulled off for the half-pigs. That's the way I'd think. What about you?
Yeah, I like that idea, for sure.
Okay. So start with the Murdoch lead. What would you put on there?
Good question, man. And would you put Arno there for the tank?
I personally wouldn't. But you could.
Because you don't have Goram. Well, let's not get into that. Let's just say we have Goram on these two teams. Because remember the 90L caveat with the humans.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it there. So would you want a Goram and...
If you're keeping Goram, I'm putting Goram, Adam, Frank, and Pigwald.
Okay, because see, I haven't messed around enough with these bottom ones here.
Or, actually, I'm sorry, I'd put Old Lore instead of Pigwald, because Frank has synergy with Old Lore. It'd be a General Murdoch lead, Dr. Frank, Adam, Instructor Goram, and Old Lore.
Okay, so explain why, because I don't really know much about Old Lore.
Well, I'm only putting Old Lore there because Major Shot's the other lead. Normally, I'd put Major Shot in that team, but we need him for the other lead.
Okay.
But you're looking for people who can do stuff on their basic abilities, right? Because they're constantly assisting.
Mm-hmm.
So you want somebody who does something on their basic.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yep.
And Old Lore can put it days.
Right.
On a target.
That's right.
And if they're dazed, he puts slow. So you get daze from Dr. Frank, essentially, because you put on the shock and then you can start dazing him.
Yep.
So he fits in well there. And then he does have the synergy with Dr. Frank, whereas if Dr. Frank is an ally, restores shield by 30% of the damage dealt upon a critical hit. And then when you look at Goram, whenever he does a crit, he puts taunt on Adam. So that's why he's there.
Yes, yeah. You usually want to try to keep them together if you can, because he makes Adam a little bit better. Adam
on his basic has the armored or the decrease, the attack decrease,
and he also has an AOE for a basic. So you were talking about assisting with basics. That's why the ultimate team would have shot, but you got to use him for a leader somewhere else. But you have him. He's AOEing on his basic, and it gets pretty crazy if you have both of them on the team. So, and
then you got Dr. Frank, who does the days.
Yep.
And then he calls in people to assist. So that's kind of what I'm putting on that team. And you just want to benefit the most from basic abilities as much as you can.
And since I don't have two teams like on my personal account, I put Shot there, and they're pretty damn good. Pretty good.
Yeah, me too. Shot team. Oh, you got to have Finisa to have the Shot team.
Okay.
So you need Major Shot, Sergeant Pigwald, Finisa, Amara, and Arno.
And this is a pretty hard team to acquire because the Ness is so hard to get. And
correct.
That's really unfortunate. And if you guys don't know, the only way you can get her is through pretty much buying with Dracoins the hero chests. And you're not even guaranteed to get any, so it costs a lot of money to get her. So hopefully they
or you got to get really lucky.
Hopefully they bring her out in like season events or something, because like other games have it, like Strike Force, you can't get Yo-Yo and someone else unless you get them out of chests.
Yeah, Symbiote Spider-Man, stuff like that.
But you can still, I can still get them somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we get enough keys to even open up hero chests. So, so yeah, hopefully it can make it a little bit easier. Like, I'm not saying she can't be exclusive, but I mean, especially to raids, man. Like, I'm never going to do good in raids because I don't have Thanessa. So, but anyways, so what's
the whole thought process behind this team is just doing damage. Yeah. Finisa and Amara are going to carry this whole team. Arno's just going to sit there and soak up the damage, and Shot's going to blind.
Yep.
And Pigwald's going to pick off people. That's it. There's really no rhyme or reason other than the fact that they do a ton of damage, and Shot's lead kind of benefits the damage.
Shot is such a badass, man. If he wasn't as squishy as he is, he'd be one of the best characters in the game. I mean, the only other one that can do a mass blind besides Garrett is Shot. His AoE basic, and his second ability is okay, depending if everything's going right for you, if it's all set up for you. And then Amara, I really like the burn she puts out, her burn AoE. She's not the best.
Finisa can call every single one of those people into assist, too.
Really? See, I don't know anything about her.
Yeah. It's a T8 ability, so I guess she can't, but she can call 4 allies in.
Yeah, like, she's a really good character, but so hard to get, and so it's really sad. Yeah. And then Arno, he doesn't do anything but just take damage.
Exactly. But just let him sit there and take all the damage.
But he can take a lot of damage, so...
He does have synergy with Major Shot, though. Well, he applies haste to Arno and allied Goblin Rangers at the start of the battle, so he makes them go quicker.
Okay.
And then he does have synergy with Sergeant Pigwald. He restores 5% turn meter for each living goblin in the party to Pigwald. So he can fit into there.
Yeah. So yeah, he needs to be there then. And he'd be a decent tank. So yeah, that's really good, man. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and do Pride. So Zeri, I'm sure we're gonna agree quite a bit on this one, but who do you pick for your first team Pride?
Well, first team Pride for me is the Hera led team with Salvador.
Yep.
You are actually more of a Pride man than me, so why don't you tell me your team first?
Okay, this isn't what I do, but this is what I tell people to do, because I don't have Kagi geared up in any way. But I would do, like you said, Hera and Salvador. They're a pretty good duo. You kind of need these guys for the main team. So they're the essential building blocks. They're the first ones you want to do. And then your damage dealers, there's not a lot of damage being put out with the Pride. It's getting better, but so in order to get damage, you want Boreas. He is, like he's a crazy damage dealer. You can even plug and play this guy in some places, and he's still going to put out. And then another good duo is Boreas and Kagi. They're giving each other buffs, and Kagi has a pretty good AoE. Kagi puts out haste, and you just want them together on a team. So you have these two duos together. They're pretty good. And I think this is the essential way to have them. And then last but not least, we've talked about this. I put Renara, but technically I think Roxy should be in the spot, because for a second team, Renara will help out. But we'll get to that. What do you think about that composition there?
I agree, for sure, because Boris and Kagi, they're squishy, but if Renara is there, it's kind of like her regeneration is almost wasted sometimes, because they got to get around Salvador. So, Roxy can do enough to keep him alive. You know, she has great heals. Her feather effect can be super useful. I'm going that way as well. I really like Roxy in that Hera Salvador comp.
Yeah, me too. And you can't go wrong with Renara being there. I think if you're trying to make the best of the whole entire faction, this is what you would want to do. So that's about all there is to say about this first team. So of course the second team is going to be everything left over. So of course we'll have a Revolve lead. And I mean, it's not the best, but at least you have a chance to restore a turn to a random ability at the start of each turn. That's about the only thing I see that's really good. You get a little bit more health, but that's about it. There's not much to it, but there could be worse ones. So of course what's left is Wukong. And the reason why I like Wukong is because there's not much room for him in the first team, but also it's supplying this team with a taunt with his duplicates. Otherwise there's not a taunt. So that's why I like him in there, and he's pretty good, you know. He's pretty good, and so this takes a kind of average team and elevates it even more just because he's in there. So
correct, yeah, I'm with you on that.
And like we said about Renara, we kind of went over why she's in this team, but she also is making this team a little bit better. I feel like this team would die off a lot faster. So if she's still alive, you can keep reviving, and then also putting the health regenerates on top of people. So if they're getting hurt, maybe they can regen a little bit faster. I mean, I just think she's going to make this team even stronger. Do you agree?
And I agree. And I think her regeneration plays off of plays off your max health. But I do believe it ticks off of your maximum health, so it really makes sense to put under a Revolve lead.
So after Renara, I mean, like I said, it's just what's left over. You have Yogi, and then you'll have Voran. You and I were talking about this team, earlier this week. Kind of tell me why Voran excels a little bit in this team, and what Yogi does too.
Yeah, I'm not really high on him, but he can put out some pretty good damage in this team. Okay. He's abundantly squishy. You have good synergies in this team because you have Yogi and Vorian, which is increasing of their potency. So I actually went for a damage set with a potency on Vorian, and if I just got the Poison Zalan, it was just kind of like an extra benefit,
Mm-hmm.
And taking him to gear 12, he did survive a little bit longer. I mean, I was running this team full gear 12, but what really, really makes a difference is he's putting out that poison, and with Renara being there, some people are trying to get her out first.
Yep.
But then you have Wukong there, dazing everybody, stopping the turn meter train, and his ads are just super annoying when you put on that tier 7. And I was finding a lot of times they weren't going after the right person, and the poisons I just let stack up, and I was able to do some pretty decent damage. I mean, by no means is anything to write home about. I think I was like 40-50k at gear 12,
right?
But still. And then I just built Yogi as the ultimate support character to pretty much feed turn meter, try to get that blind up,
Yep, and that's what its kit's about. So
yeah,
there's nothing secret about that.
Exactly. And pairing those two together with a very solid healer in Renara, because she does put up 2 at the start of her turn on the lowest health ally, 2 regenerations. So, I just built her insanely fast, and she was just kind of going constantly. Didn't care about damage, and this team was more of like a if you didn't burn it down fast, it just like slowly kills you, because you got Revolve kind of getting the bleeds out, right? And then Wukong's putting on the dazes, so you can't really force the turn meter train. Then you got Yogi blinding certain people, and Vorian's just kind of sitting back there picking people off, and it actually worked out way better than I thought it was going to work out, for sure.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm definitely going to have to give this some testing out. I mean, for the most part, all I need is Voiran and Kagi to gear them up. I'm working on Roxy right now, and I might be able to use these on Battlegrounds and see how that does for me. So,
yeah, I mean, it's like I said, if you're not going to take this up against like a Thulane team. You're not taking it up against, but you take it up against like a Kinley-led Panda team, you got a shot. You take it up against that back row Darien garbage team, you're going to win, Yeah. But you gotta put some resources into it to really, really make it work,
But yeah, if I can do that, if I can take out some pandas with some 3 tunes I don't use usually, that's a big win. And you have a way better chance in Battlegrounds to win. So I'm always trying to find an underdog team that I can take a decent team out with. Then you have even better chance at full clearance. So
yeah, in this team, you're essentially using characters. The only one it would be hard to give up is Renara in that whole squad.
Yep.
You're not giving up anything. Yep. So if you're going into a fight where you'd probably have to back out once anyways, give this team a shot if you have it geared up enough. Because if you're gonna get slaughtered and back out, you're not losing anything than what you would have in the first time around.
Yeah,
but the synergy's there, and it makes sense.
And see, I don't have Kagi, so I use Wukong in my main team. But if I had Kagi, I would take Wukong out and put him somewhere else, even if it wasn't in this team, because I believe those two are better in the team than Wukong being in the first team. Either way, I mean, do you disagree? Do you think he's better than Kagi in that team?
To me, it's almost overkill.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. They have it's almost overkill, and without having Kagi with Boris, you're not maximizing Boris, and that's where the problem lies. Is you almost are forced to pull off a Wukong to make it work between Boris and Kagi. Yep. Or you leave Wukong on that team, and you put in, you put in somebody else.
Yeah.
But you really can't, because then you're breaking up other synergies. Now, if you don't care about that other team, you only have one solid Pride team. By all means, go for it. But
yeah, yep.
You're going to notice a significant difference in the survivability and how hard Boris hits when Kagi is by his side. When you get Kagi up and running, man, you're going to love it. He's actually. Is Kagi a boy or a girl? Do we even know?
I would say he's a boy, but he's a bird, so it's hard for me to tell.
Right. So, anyway, that's beside the point. But when you get Kagi up and running, Kagi used to be bottom of the barrel, trash. Mm-hmm. T7s made a huge impact. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get T7s on Kagi, and there was this clip on Reddit where he did the tornado. And it was a total of like 250,000 damage off his tornado move.
That's AoE. You don't see that, man.
Yeah. Everybody was over like 50k. It was insane.
Wow.
So, Kagi, I mean, still abundantly squishy beyond all belief, but that T7 on the basic where you double tap every single time, and Kagi can crit on a basic like right around like 12, 18k. So if you get the middle of that, 15k, you're double tapping. That's 30,000 damage on a basic.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. You know?
I just keep seeing people with... I'm scared to take on a Boreas and Kagi Pride more than a Wukong one. I've never had to.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're saying about Kagi, he just hits hard. And also in tournaments. I see him in tournaments a lot. And I don't have a Kagi. So I almost don't make it up very far in a tournament that requires Kagi, and I see that a lot too. And so I definitely agree, man. Kagi is a little underrated.
Yeah, and the only part that I don't like putting Kagi with that team is because he gives out the haste, and you kind of don't want them to go faster,
especially Salvador.
If you have the T7s on Salvador, it doesn't matter because he's still reducing his by 70% or whatever, but. That's the only like kind of downfall is it's really beneficial when Salvador loses that taunt or it gets dispelled and you can put it back up, then you can pop that haste and help out. But that's my only real reservation on that whole team. But putting Boris and Kagi and pulling Wukong off that Revol team, you don't have a tank, and then they can just pick off whoever they want and they just walk over that team.
It just makes sense. I feel like they did that on purpose, and it seems like they're really...
Oh, I do too.
it seems like they're releasing characters that fit, where you can split factions up. Whether it's the best team to use or not, they're wanting you to split each faction into 2 teams. And
and that's why you're seeing to your point, you're seeing these characters with crappy synergies with the crappiest character around, but it kind of forces you to think that way. I mean, you don't always have to.
Yeah.
But somebody like Boris and Keggy, like I remember when they gave Boris and Keggy synergy, I'm like, who the hell is going to use Keggy? And
yeah, me too. Yep.
So it's just something to think about. Like, Pride is definitely one of those factions where, other than Wukong and Renara, essentially, you're not plug and playing really anybody in that faction.
Yeah, and like
you can with Boris and Keggy. You can. Don't get me wrong, but you take Boris in under like a Thelaine Lean in a tournament, and it's just nearly not as effective.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about it?
No, man. I think we beat that one pretty good, brother.
Yeah, we did a good job, buddy. Okay, so last but not least, we have Demons.
Demons is an interesting faction because you got 3 leads.
Yes, that's why I can't wait to do this one. That's a good one to do last for sure. All right, man. So I think we both probably know that for the first team, we want to have a buff lead, correct?
Yeah, buff lead is probably a good place to start. It's an easy one.
So I've heard different things, but would you put Kiri on this team too?
Depends. Buff. See, the problem. I'm just going to state this now. You can really build. The Demons have 3 leads, and you can build it really any way you want it and make it work. So somebody's probably going to tell you, like, nope, this is better. This is a better team. And you know what? I probably couldn't argue it.
Right. I agree.
But
this is going to be a controversial one.
Yeah. And it really, really depends because buff offers so much. I mean, giving the speed. Like, the way I like to build my buff teams is I kind of like to put the damage dealers there. Because you can decrease the target's turn meter. You're getting the speed, I kind of like to put the damage dealers there and just kind of make it like a nuke team. It's not really a defensive comp. I mean, I like putting my standard buff team is Kyra, Kiri, Venomate, Puncherface. If I was going all demons, that's how I go.
Okay, and like you said, there's so many ways to do this. I also don't have all my demons, so I'm pretty much just putting my best demons with buff.
Right.
And then it's Slinger and some random people that aren't even demons. So, I guess we could do more than 2 with these guys. You know what I mean? Because there's so many ways. There's so many ways you could do this. And just off my head, this is what I would do. So that's what Zeri would do, guys. I've never tried this, so that's interesting. But I do have to get a few people up to even try that. But I completely understand, get that speed up, get the poisons going. Kyra and Venomate have synergy together, right?
Yep.
And so
they call each other into assists and stuff.
Lots of AoEs going on, too. Lots of AoEs. Kyra's got days.
Yep. And then you got Puncherface to get around the taunts, because you got no real dispel there.
Yep.
But Puncherface can help you get around the taunt, and he's blazing fast. You can just make him exceptionally fast. Just the damage, like you're getting damage from Venomate and Kyra. Puncherface can do damage if you want to build him that way, but
right.
I mean, but then you could build a buff team with buff, Kiri, Shadar, Radash, and a 5th demon. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can do that, and I could say, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So, So I was also going to show what I do on Battlegrounds. So I do buff, Kiri, Radash, Shadar, and Kyra, I believe it is.
I couldn't argue that. I wouldn't want to fight that team because the turn meter swap with buff, then Shadar feeding turn meter back to everybody, Kiri constantly going up and down, and then Kyra and Radash just kind of back there to pick people off. Plus you have the stun and Shadar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a solid comp. I couldn't go wrong with that.
And Shadar's turn meter feed is huge. One of the best turn meter moves, I think, in the game.
It is. I like if I saw a team like that, I'd be like, oh man, I might have to use humans here, and hopefully Garrett gets his Days Arrow.
And that's what I go with, just because that's the best team I got, But I definitely think it could go either way, and I really want to try the way you did it, because that might be a better offensive way to take down some teams on defense, but I just used this one like usual.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the reason I built it that way is for the turn meter reduction, because I have an AoE in Kyra, I have an AoE in Venomate, I have an AoE in Puncherface, I have an AoE in Kiri. So I use it to try to slow down the other team.
I like it, man. I never thought about it. I like it. That's why I like doing this with you. Because I learned something.
Buff can just kind of give you he can nullify somebody. I mean, it's obviously RNG, but you roll that dice and say you get a counterattack on Kyra, or you get counterattack on Venomate, and then he calls in Kyra to assist. I mean, it can be beneficial.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree, man. And then, I mean, I'm guessing would you want to do Slinger for the second team lead?
Yeah, I like when we did our breakdown of the leaderships, I really feel that Shadar is more of a PvE leadership, not a PvE leadership. Or PvP, I'm sorry. He definitely more of PvE, slowing stuff down, letting you control it, whereas in Battlegrounds or Arena, you really can't do that,
Yeah.
You can't control it like you want. And on paper, it sounds great, but in theory, it doesn't work that way,
And I've honestly never really used his leadership ever, so... And we said that in your video, too.
Yeah, I mean, the only place I really use his leadership, like, I fooled around with it quite a bit, but in my own account, when we fight the raid, because you can put slow, anybody can put slow on, any mage can put slow on.
Yeah, and that does help on the raid for sure.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I was using Shadar, Radash, and Cruel, and then they'd stealth each other, and then I just brought in 2 tanks,
Yeah.
Hope for the best. So,
we're going to have 2 different Slinger teams, so what would be your Slinger team? Taking out all the ones that you just used for buff, who would be your Slinger team?
If I was building a team around Slinger, I would use the Xantera Mega Wheel.
Yep.
Shadar Radash. You're getting the turn meter from Slinger, which is awesome. But then if you have that burst from Shadar feeding back Xantera to pop off that heal even better, or to get to Shadar's stun, that's kind of the way I break it up, and that's really more of my offensive team. Demons I don't really like on defense because there's so many counters to them. Yeah, but we're kind of forced to use them in this situation.
Yep.
I
love that, man, and I've never used that either. Never really thought about it, but I love the idea of the leadership's providing turn meter, and then Shadar is too. So,
and the Xantera Mega Wheel combo, the rework on that, it's not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but they really made Mega Wheel way better. Because you remember when he used to put on, I don't know if a lot of old school players, he'd have to put out pain on, it was like a debuff he used to have to spread to everybody.
Yeah, yep.
And then he'd remove that all and he'd do damage based off of it. Now he has the Torment, which he puts on himself.
Yeah,
and he doesn't dispel it.
Yeah, it's a way better
it's a way better system. Mechanic.
Yeah.
And then Xantera, when she heals herself, she also heals Mega Wheel. She heals Mega Wheel on a basic. Like, the synergy is really, really good there. Really good.
Yeah.
It's still not enough to make them outstanding, but it's still a really good synergy.
And don't a lot of people use Slinger Lead to counter goblins?
Mm-hmm. Because everyone builds them to crit. Yep. So you're just feeding a crap ton of turn meter to your squad.
Yep.
So,
and in Battlegrounds,
double that,
In Battlegrounds, everyone's telling me use Xantara, Mega Wheel, whoever, and I'm just like, well, they're not good enough for me to counter him. But I put Slinger Lead with some dwarves and maybe a half pig or something, and I can usually take out the goblins pretty well. So,
yeah.
So this is Zeri's Slinger. We both have different opinions on this one, but mainly just because I don't have my demons up enough. So what I usually do with Slinger, if I had them up, it would just be take Shadar and Radash out because they're in my main team, and I just throw in Puncherface and I think it's Venomate, which doesn't make as much sense as yours does. So I've learned something today because yours actually makes a lot more sense, and this would just be me throwing things in because you don't have Venomate feeding something off of Kyra, you know what I'm saying? So, but this is what I do, or that's what I would do if I had him up right now. But now that you showed me that, I think I've changed my mind a lot more. So don't listen to me, guys. Listen to Zeri.
Yeah, well, it might not be the way to do it. It's just in my head. That's what I do. And if you're looking to make investments, I pulled up my spreadsheet from Gear 11 to Gear 12. Xantera is huge. Health and Shield. Health's at 25,704. Shield's at 28,995 at Gear 11.
Okay.
Her magic damage is at a little bit under 3,000. You bump her up to Gear 12. Her magic damage goes almost to 3,300. Her health goes to 36,000. Her shield goes to 34,000.
Nice. That's a big jump. That's a huge jump.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that magic damage, because everything on her kit deals 200 magic damage, heals enemy with the lowest health by 100% of the magic damage dealt.
Yeah.
She deals magic damage, restores as much health to herself in Mega Wheel. Sacrifices 25% of her health, heals allies by 500% of her magic damage. I mean, that's big.
That is,
and then Mega Wheel, you normally don't talk about with like tanks, is the actual physical damage, but Mega Wheel's physical damage is 2,849, and his health is 26,000. His shield is 37,000. Gear 12, health goes to 39,000. Shield goes to 46,500.
Nice.
But then his physical damage takes almost a 3K jump at Gear 12, and he's kind of like that quasi damage dealer. You can actually do decent damage.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with Mega Wheel is he gains almost 4% physical and magic armor going from Gear 11 to Gear 12. So.
Wow. Okay, well, that's something
big.
to take in mind.
Big.
I think I'm a long ways away from that, but that's pretty.
Oh yeah, me too.
Pretty cool.
But it's just something to keep in mind, because then you got kind of him just soaking up that damage. He's getting that torment. Xantera's kind of keeping him up, and then Slinger. I mean, you got Shadar and Radash. They assist off each other too, So
yep.
It's kind of interesting little combo. But by all means, like I said in the beginning, if you told me that's not the way to do it, I'd probably say, yeah, you got a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, so what guys, let us know below, like in the comments, like what your guys' demons composition is, because I'm curious to know. There's so much you could do with it, and like Zeri said, there's no real wrong way to do it.
Yeah, and demons is probably the most split apart faction. I mean, they got how many people in this faction are plug and play? Buff, Kiri, Shadar, Slinger, Kyra. I mean.
Yeah.
You can put them in any comp and be fine. You know what I mean? They're so plug and play.
Yep.
That people they'll probably say like, hey, I don't even make a demon comp. I just put them in other teams.
Yep. I agree, man. I agree. They're probably one of my favorite teams overall. Not because they're the best or anything, but just because of the way they look and what you can do with them.
No, exactly. And I was pretty low on Radash, but. He's still not like he won't blow you away, but he's fun to play with. He's a fun little character.
I've found just overall in this game, whenever there's a character I don't really think is that great, eventually I grow into him. They kind of grow into the role, and I always seem to like warm up to most of the ones I'm not very highly on at first. So
yeah, I agree with you there, man. I do the same thing.
All right, anything else you want to say about him, man?
No, man. I think that does it.
All right, guys, that's what we think about how to split up the clans. I appreciate you guys coming by and checking out the video. Appreciate you guys' support. Zeri, thank you so much, my friend, my best friend, for coming by and doing another video with me.
Always, man. I love being here. Thanks for having me on. So I appreciate it.
Everyone loves doing this, so we're trying to do a little bit more, guys, for you, because everyone seems to enjoy our videos together. But just hanging out with you, man, I love just hanging out with you, so I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too, man. So thank you so much.
No problem, bud. Guys, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.